Yeah.
What's your plan? No, basically. Oh, that's right. You're there. I can start.
I had like half a coffee and then I got an IV drip. And I haven't eaten yet, but I got an IV drip.
Just for now. How much? I'm trying to break the line. I thought you were talking. That's what it Unless you want to. Yeah, I mean, I just read that. Awesome. Yeah, exactly. All right, see you, buddy.
I ended up been home for a minute and realized I got some chocolate and It did, yeah.
I have one of those too, but I literally just
You made me that.
Tyler, just shoot me an over, let's go.
Yeah. Now have you sat down? Yeah, it's little toasty.
Take a seat. These 3 seats up here.
I'll take the night.
Get to see it.
This is it. All right. Jake, hi. Ilsa, nice to meet you. I'm Luke, by the way.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice meeting you, Rachel.
I like Southern grandma fan, like a church fan.
All right, folks, if you are here for the Space Foundry, Space Futures Artifact Foundry, come on in, take a seat.
Well, you gotta get your stage manager voice on. It's all in the diaphragm.
I know.
Project.
You would think the tin roof would help me.
Right.
This building is so interesting. It's really weird. Like,
I can't tell how much of it is retrofitted and how much of it is like
yeah,
new.
yeah, I know what you mean.
It looks like a new build that's designed to look like it was a
Yeah.
retrofitted building.
Shit, thanks, Jed.
No, I didn't.
Jed, no. But he didn't know where to go.
Yeah, it's like further away than I realized.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it just felt further because it's like 95 degrees outside.
Yeah. It was hot.
Maybe we'll bring it out to the lobby.
Right. Paul, do you need a loud voice? I have a loud voice.
I'm happy to just have it be a little confab with ourselves.
There you go.
That's a
good voice.
You can educate me at least.
I was gonna say, maybe like a round table.
We've only got a
At
few
this
folks.
point, might as well.
Yeah.
All right, Therese, you're up.
Would y'all like to work together or in separate teams?
I mean, do we have enough for separate teams at this point?
No.
No.
We all do something.
Let's just
We
all.
work together?
I think this is. Yeah, this is more of a roundtable at this point, which is great. So, well, welcome. Thanks for coming. My name is Paul Frakes. I'm with the Aerospace Corporation, and specifically I'm with our Strategic Foresight team. We are a federally funded research and development center. I work in our Arlington, Virginia office. We're actually based out of Los Angeles. And one of the things that we are doing, we've been around for 60 years. Aerospace has been around, aerospace as a field has been around for roughly that long. But as we know, the field is changing rapidly. And so one of the things that we're doing that's new to us as a company is strategic foresight. I'm joined by 3 panelists. We have Jake from the Institute for the Future. We have Ilsa from Bloomberg, and we have Luke from, remind me.
Astroscale.
Astroscale, that's right.
And Ilsa's from Aerospace Engineering.
Formerly of aerospace, and so that's why
Right, I know.
yeah. So we are going to be, I've got a couple of charts to show you. We can kind of walk through the map of the future that you just received, and we'll let our panelists share some of their insights as well as we talk about space futures. So I'll advance to the next chart, which is just a visual of what you have. And just talk a little bit about, and actually, you know what? Do you guys have a copy as well? So what is this? This is a map of the future that our team created just before the pandemic, actually. We had some 3 dozen experts from across our company, deep technical bench of aerospace engineers in related fields. We spent about a week together coming up with hundreds of ideas, trying to understand, what is the landscape of the future of space, trying to think outside of our deep silos. Everybody, if you're in a technical field, you can often get siloed into one particular area. We were trying to think of as many bizarre things as we could to try to help us capture ideas about how the future of space would unfold. And so the layout of the map is we have these 7 core themes that we centered our ideas around. So there's access, things like launch. We have resources, so that's not only physical resources like you might think of mining, extraterrestrial, either asteroids or planets, but also data as a resource, other things like that. We have intelligence and the support infrastructure that goes into understanding, not just collecting data, but knowing what to do with that data once you have it. We have conflict. That was obviously a major theme in space. One of our primary customers in the Aerospace Corporation is the U.S. Space Force. And so as they're maturing and developing an understanding of who they are and who they're going to be, we want to understand what is the landscape of possibility out to this next several decades. We have workforce. Obviously, you can't get it done without people, and so there's a lot of themes there. Exploration. A lot of that comes, you would think, more from the NASA and civil side. It's not just NASA. Obviously, we've got private industry and potentially also being able to leverage across the whole of government, not just siloing that into civil space. And then finally, players, looking at the wide variety of folks who are interested in space. It's not just your traditional prime contractors and NASA. Obviously, there's tons of other folks interested as well, including the general public. And so what we've got emanating outwards of these core themes, if you think about this as ripples going out in time, the closest ripple is things that are kind of happening today, things that we understand and know about. And then as you go further out, these are more speculative as far as what could happen in those particular domains. And then when you see an intersection, like at the bottom here, the intersection of exploration and workforce, you have VR workspaces. So at the intersection of those ripples, you end up with some new, perhaps emergent behavior or non-linear kind of impact on the industry. And so we want to put that out there for the public. It's on our website. I'll show a QR code if you want to download the virtual, the online version at the end here. But this is a tool that you can use, put it up in your office, share it with others to try to just be creative about what are some of the things that could happen in the future. And so what I'll do right now actually is hand it over to each one of our panelists to give just a brief introduction of kind of who they are, where they sit in the space industry, and these will be our judges for the space artifact activity. So keep that in mind as you're listening to them. So, Ilse, over to you.
Thanks, Paul. Hi, everyone. My name is Ilse Maraz. I'm the manager with the Space Division with Aerospace Industries Association. I work with our civil, commercial, and national security space portfolios. AIA has about 350 member companies. We're a 501c6 trade association, so we work across the A&D sector with our members. We advocate and support policy initiatives. We work public and private with our members and make sure that we're triaging the interests of the industry. So we have multiple policy divisions. So I, in this role, work with our space division. So I work with agency, public, private. I get a really wide scope of policy initiatives that I get to work with. I get to work with Luke a lot, thankfully. So for example, some of the policy interests that I work with myself is sustainable space, so orbital debris mitigation, active debris removal, longevity of the human presence in space, so ensuring that our orbits are safe, our space industry is ethical in its scientific approach, responsible in the R&D side. We communicate these interests, these initiatives to Congress, so we do a lot of work on the Hill. So we have a lot that we cover in our very small team. So I'm very excited to be here, and hand over to Luke.
Yeah, so my name's Luke Riesbeck. I work for a startup called Astroscale US. It's the US subsidiary of a Tokyo-based company that is doing in-space on-orbit servicing of satellites and also building spacecraft to conduct active debris removal, to remove space debris from orbit. So everything about what I do in my role as a space policy analyst is research and advocacy work to help both prepare satellite operators of all kinds, government and private, to make their missions and their individual spacecraft more sustainable, and also essentially to work across other kinds of disciplines and incorporate those insights into the very somewhat tight-knit bubble of space policy and aerospace systems engineering. So my personal goal throughout my career, not just at Astroscale, but the mark I want to leave on the world, is I want to help the aerospace industry integrate those principles of sustainable design into the entire supply chain, into the entire space enterprise, from ground systems to individual satellites throughout their life cycle and their end of life. So that is who I am. That's what I want to be doing. That's part of what I'm working towards at Astroscale. And yeah, I think for this exercise that we're all about to do together, I'm glad it's a relatively close-knit group because we can have some good conversations. But one of the things I'm going to be looking for is I want to have folks have a more cross-disciplinary and interdisciplinary approach to what they're doing. Kind of echoed what you said, Paul, about breaking out of your silo. But the aerospace industry right now does not talk to each other very much. And it's thanks to organizations like AIA and Aerospace Corporation that we're starting to break down those walls. So let's try to use this time to think of ideas that do that. So thank you.
Great. And finally, Jake.
Yeah, hey y'all. Welcome. I'm based in Austin, so welcome to the city. If you're not from here, I lead the Governance Futures Lab at the Institute for the Future. It's based in Palo Alto, here, as I say, and part of our mission is really to think about the concept and practice of social invention. So how do we create new political and social systems that are appropriate and better for now, but also future ready? And so a whole host of concepts and tools to help people get ready, arm themselves to think creatively, to think about redesigning our political systems. That includes some I teach as well in different places, and that includes things like designing political systems on Mars, some of the things I'm doing. But I think the reason why I'm here right now is because I have over the years developed with colleagues an approach to futures we call experiential futures. So how do we create artifacts, experiences, performances, media that supports us in a way to kind of simulate what it might be to live in a different world, rather than thinking about the future in an abstract term. Oh yeah, this could happen or that might happen. What if we experienced it? What if we had a direct interaction potentially with a possible future? And what can we learn from that experience, that interaction? So that's what I've been doing, developing tools and techniques and different ways of helping people do that, where ultimately the purpose of that is to make it matter to people, to actually make the future something that we can learn from and maybe not learn the hard way every time from blind spots that we have. So that's the ultimate goal is to help us make better decisions and hopefully lead to more positive kinds of futures.
Excellent. Well, thanks, folks, for introducing yourselves. It's a small group. I'm actually thinking about, just by show of hands, are there folks who are, are you engineers, are you, venture capital types? Like, what kind of backgrounds do we have in the audience?
Engineer.
Engineer.
Product designer.
Product design.
Okay.
Engineer.
Engineer.
What kind of engineering?
Yeah.
What specialties?
Computer science.
Computer science,
Mathematics.
mathematics.
Mechanical, but
Okay.
I don't really do it anymore.
Okay. Awesome.
Product lead and business development.
What was that?
Product lead and business development.
Okay, awesome.
I am a futurist and also engineer, designer, entrepreneur.
Very cool.
Multifaceted. I
Yeah,
like
so
it.
this is exactly the right audience. I think it's the
Yeah.
right mix. So I guess before we get started, just a question for the panel to think about. We've got such a wide variety of folks, and I think we're hitting on that cross-discipline approach to designing the future very well. How do you think about communicating outwards? For folks who are not in this room now, how do we take what we're going to do here, as excited as we're going to be about it, how do we take that to the larger either aerospace industry or even beyond just aerospace?
You open source it. Create a GitHub repo, open source it, put it out in the world. Develop a community around it.
I think there's a lot of value to having platforms like this. I mean, I think those of you who have been around the South by Southwest block for a few years, I mean, 10, even 5 years ago, the dialogue around space was non-existent. And so the fact that we're here, we were talking about space debris on a panel yesterday, the fact that there's interest in these new ideas and this innovation, and it's designed to reach this diversity of an audience, I think that speaks volumes to the progress that's being made. So I think maintaining a presence at events, at platforms where you can reach this diverse of an audience, I think is probably one of the best things that you can do.
I have to have my soapbox for the arts here. I mean, especially at a conference like this, having filmmakers and documentary producers and game designers and artists who are doing, work that will be seen by lots of people. We have to have a better engagement with them as an industry. I think some of the, coming from like this startup and like new space perspective a little bit, some brands have been more popular than others in the new space industry at becoming household names. And, that's positive. But, I work on a problem that is very easily construed as the sky is falling, Chicken Little, this is a disaster, and there's no hope and there's no solution to it, right? Space debris, people think of like the first 20 minutes of the film Gravity, where it's just an unmitigated disaster. And so I think, because space and space operations is so closely tied to a lot of people's like fond memories and nostalgia and current interest in science fiction. It's a great door opener, but bringing it back down to the day-to-day and a more concrete future is like where I think we need to collaborate with artists a lot more. And I'm all for like fantastical space depictions, but not to the point where the reality gets construed too much.
So keep that in mind as you're designing your artifacts, that the story that goes along with it is something that is inspirational, pushes the envelope, but then also walks that line of being real and hopeful.
Sure, yeah.
Jake, what about you?
Is the question like space knowledge and dreams in general, or artifacts in particular?
Why don't we stick with the artifacts, and that'll kind of lead us into the activity.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the mind of go where you can, where people are, and be very opportunistic. So I've done things at conferences, I've done things on the streets, guerrilla style, you know, like just sort of confronting people with different ideas. Each one of them has trade-offs and modalities. Sometimes you want to kind of punch people in the gut and maybe shake them up a little bit. Sometimes you want to kind of ease them along and, okay, well, if this, you know, this adjacency happens, this one happens, this one happens. But, you know, so it's hard to say without kind of knowing what your goals and audience are. If you just want to raise general awareness, I think some of the answers here are good. I mean, you ask people what the future is, or the future of space is, they're going to say gravity. They're going to say, you know, you can probably predict what they're going to say immediately. And so getting in the mindset of the people that you're trying to reach. Where are they? Where are their blind spots? Are they in cliche zone? Well, let me tweak that a little bit. You know, my artifact is designed to sort of give you what you thought was true and twist it a little bit. Are they totally like blind to this issue? No one has thought about space junk. Okay, gravity was great. You know, that probably did more for space junk. You know,
That's true. Yeah.
At least the awareness of that.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, I think you want to be very strategic about what your goals are, where your audience, what their mindset is, and what kind of result do you want to have? You know, do you want them shaken and woken up? Do you want them on board? You know, in consensus. So all of those things go into the kind of strategies you would build. But again, coming back to the first thing I said, you know, go where they are. If it's TikTok, that's fine. If it's, you know, flying a plane over a stadium to get your message off, you know, you just, you know, I don't think there's a perfect way. I think you have to be very opportunistic, given money, budget, audience, you know, goals, all those things. So.
Good insights.
Yeah.
All right, well, and that leads us into the activity itself. So I've got a couple of charts that kind of show, like direction-wise, like how we're going to do this. And we're actually borrowing from the Institute for the Future tool called Creating an Artifact of the Future. And so, I can probably skip over this because Jake just talked to it, but basically the future becomes more tangible when you can see it and touch it. Unfortunately, we don't have 3D printers for you to actually build the thing, but we can sketch it out. We've got paper for you to do that. And we'll walk through an example. These are the kinds of questions that you might ask yourself as you're trying to imagine, okay, who am I building this for? What's my strategy? Who am I trying to reach? What am I trying to communicate about a particular future? And how do I envision that future to begin with? So you might ask questions like, who inhabits the future? Is it a grandma, a scientist, a sports fan, my little brother? What does this future feel like? Especially in engineering and the technical fields, we don't often think about technology and feeling per se, but is it a friendly or is it an adversarial future? Think about the context in which this artifact, this thing that you're envisioning will be. What action will people be taking in this future? Are they going to be flying, eating, trading, migrating, buying things, building? What's a new characteristic of this future when compared to today? So one of the attributes that we're going to be judging you guys on is novelty of the artifact itself and also the future that you've come up with. So is there something about the future you're envisioning and or the artifact that's novel in some way? And then finally, what is the actual object? So by the time you've sort of laid out that context, you can actually get to the physical object. And so we've got an example here where we've got a scenario. Martian colonies are maturing. The people who have left Earth are admired as minor celebrities. They're hailed as heroes by some. There's now a demand for consumer products on Mars. And so the artifact that we have envisioned, we don't have a physical version of it, but this is an idea, which is a settler on Mars is listening to music on her outdoor speaker system, whose sound quality has been optimized for the aeroacoustics of the Martian atmosphere. And so you would basically take the sheet there and sketch that out. So here's a few that you can see on the maps that you received. So we've got something like a moon collar worker rather than a blue collar worker, someone who's actually working on the moon, and it's a standard issue uniform. A first edition Celestial graphic rather than National Geographic magazine. The Space Hypermax shoe apparently has some kind of bio element to it where we're actually growing materials, but some out of this world athlete has these very expensive shoes. And then the final one is a timeshare humanoid avatar. Let's say I'm earthbound, but I really want to walk around on the moon. I can rent this robot that just kind of lives up there and do VR and walk around and explore the moon as though I were really there. So those are just some examples. And what we'll do is, I guess we've got enough people for maybe 2 teams to compete against each other, or 2 or 3. So
I think you could squeeze 3 out of here.
I think okay.
Yeah.
Let's do 3 teams. So let's divide up however you want to, group up into 3 separate teams, and then we'll give you some time.
Or does anybody want to work individually? Maybe just give them the option.
Yeah,
Someone who wants-
if you want to
Parker,
work individually.
you're looped in.
I can play too.
Yeah, Parker.
You're up.
So can I give like just
Please.
I can't help it, but when you're thinking about it, I mean I know the template leads you through this, but I just want to emphasize and amplify. Don't rush to the thing. Like don't rush to that yet. Like really think about the world. Think about okay, what is it 2050, right?
Yeah.
So something space related 2050. That's your kind of subject matter. Think about the scenario. Are we going on a kind of continued growth? Like are we expanding in space? Like give you a little sense of the kind of world that you're in. You know, sort of visualize it. And then what's a scene from that world? I mean, you mentioned what was it?
The Martian.
Yeah, so the acoustic, yeah, so okay, it's somebody listening to music or something, like that's the scene that you're in. And then, okay, the headset, yeah, in a way it kind of writes itself. Like, instead of thinking about, I have to invent a product or, you know, a thing, like you're almost, if you spend enough time, just, you know, be patient, think through the world, you're almost like describing something that's in that world rather than trying to invent something, the thing in that world. So just do the world building part. Don't rush it, you know, talk about it, what's happening here, what's our situation, what's the scene, what's going on, and then you're almost like a prop maker in a film, like what's the thing that would be in there, and then your criteria is like what's the most interesting thing that would be in there that I want to express and share with each other, like what's the thing that has the most narrative weight, you know, it's carrying like, oh yeah, that's really interesting, okay, the atmosphere is different, like you can start spinning the story out, like once you have the artifact, then that should evoke the whole world that you've spent time sort of uncovering in a way, so just want to put a point in for the don't rush to the thing yet. You know, really allow yourself to talk a little bit through about the world and the scene that you're inhabiting.
Yeah, no, that's great advice.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So, shall I divide you up? Who wants to work individually? Raise your hand. Okay, good. We've got some.
I feel like we have a good group over here.
We got a good group here, and then maybe you guys over here can flip into 2 teams, or Parker if you want to participate too.
We can bring it if somebody wants to cross over, we can grow our team too.
Right.
Now you got to get an adversarial identity already.
So, I don't know how long.
2 groups then?
Yeah, I think it's like
I remember. Do you have somewhere?
I'm kind of
Awesome.
You just like give them a minute.
Like go in and
So let them get to know each other, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna give
And then
him give him a
float in.
second.
have that person get over the ideas.
yes, yeah, I think it was Lauren.
Okay. Did you?
Sure.
She was not able to talk.
I work
I think she's here, but didn't make it.
I'm just here to support Elsa.
Just make it fresh.
I have,
She's on my, no, well, she's on my family farm, so just,
I'm John.
This group that they could do more than one. Yeah, like maybe the winner is like just the one that's okay.
So, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for documenting this.
What is it like?
Getting all these
yeah, what's our cost?
We have a total of an hour and a half. So
Or yeah, if they do,
Well, yes, yeah, I know.
they are kind of hustling along.
But I mean, you're just gonna miss.
to essentially cover that, and the second part, essentially merge with that,
You didn't get it.
that degree has no negative charge. The second is a magnetic system, that can interact with that arch and essentially route it away towards spacecraft.
Can I take a photo while I get it?
Yeah.
Shall I like stand it right here? Thanks.
Yeah, this would be a cultural thing and we can add on to that.
I'll get a little closer.
And also,
not too much.
existing like concepts
There you go.
where this space to be
Nice.
made.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Like very sorry.
There you go.
Oh, we look so official. Wow. Lined up like that. Thank you.
I had this, he was talking about the shoes, they're like, biological material shoes. I was thinking, humans are going off into different worlds, right? Maybe not every world is, has enough oxygen, so, instead of putting on a spacesuit, maybe you could, get this cream filled with microorganisms that turn, ammonia into oxygen.
So,
Something like that.
do you all
And so then you
like
could put it on your
work
face
with
or pop a pill.
people in
have
other
these
kinds
microorganisms
of like
live in your
media
body
formats, like
and
musicians and
give you these-
game designers and
Yeah,
things like that?
yeah, not,
Visual
I've
artists?
done personally so much with musicians, occasionally, sometimes we'll do like a soundtrack of music as part of, a scene or something that we're creating, or a film.
So do you all like consult for films then too?
Not,
Like I'm
not
really
a,
curious about that.
yeah, not a ton, but people I know in the world, of this world, will, do some,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people now in Hollywood, that come out of Hollywood, they're world builders, like Alex McDowell, who did Minority Report, I guess, and many other things. But yeah, so he's like kind of writes in future journals and sort of plays, moving in that direction. And a lot of sort of more creative designer, future types are called in.
Yeah.
Is this artifact thing like specific to ours or just a general
Whatever you want it to be. Yeah.
And 2050
It doesn't have to be set in space either. It could be something on Earth that's related to space technology.
VR development.
Yeah.
Ours is stuff.
I like the idea of the mention of the avatar. It won't be real, virtual reality, but maybe
But yeah, like
projected
I
reality,
mean,
right?
I know a lot of folks at the NASA history office.
When we're talking about being able to
A lot of the external consultants. How do we design this thing so it looks convincingly like it's
Yeah, I mean,
it's interesting to me.
yeah, the dream space is there. Do you know? I mean, JPL has done all these artifacts and posters and things. And so my colleague Stuart Candy works with them quite a bit. Yeah. Smithsonian had an exhibit on future. It wasn't necessarily space related.
They just reopened that one a couple months ago, right? And I think I don't know how long is Ellen still there?
It's almost like travel.
Is Ellen still there? Leading the redesign.
So, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
It's like a 10-year renovation.
And I mean, easier said than done. But if you can get yourself to Dubai, the Museum of the Future opened last year, and
Oh, really?
one of the whole major exhibits is a space oriented.
Yep, Marcel's here right now.
Oh, well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, definitely. If you hear people going,
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if they did anything with
The travel you're doing as a tourism
ISC.
operator
They have a lot of stuff.
I really like that concept.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
2050?
How much of like this type
Maybe
of
we're
work is
too
like,
far away to get something like that.
I guess like strategic to like help businesses and policy and stuff, and how much of it is like just pure like art and education and enrichment,
Yeah.
cultural enrichment stuff.
Well,
there-
the
is it
way
kind
the
of
world works,
blended?
the strategic tends to get funded.
Sure.
Because it's more instrumental, other than sort of like the
Yeah.
Hollywood one, which I consider, sort of a separate thing. But, I mean, a lot of my favorite work has been like city art grants.
When you see
A lot of, shoestring kind of budgets, but,
that's more like
sort of more open public engagement kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we can get pretty creative there. And it's, it's kind of the awareness of design futures and experiential futures is growing. So a lot of more kind of straight-laced businesses are seeing it. Oh yeah, all right, this is strategic. It's not just some sort of, artistic endeavor. It's something that can be used to think differently.
There was a group of people talking sort of out of pocket yesterday
I mean, there is
how much they have been surprised for the buy-in that they've had on their like VR little experiments. I haven't used my VR headset very much. That's another area where I think if you just create something.
I know, I'm not going to
Like a
say real time
surprising,
because.
like they were not expecting that many. And you're like, wow, this could be an actual place, an actual platform.
Right.
To
Yeah, you were able
spread
to-
information.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of made for this. You know, I do a lot of analog, performance and media and physical things, but
So I like your
VR
idea, and then it also is your
sort of lends itself to that kind of
Yeah.
research. But yeah, it
Like,
hasn't really taken off. I don't know if that's because of the VR itself or just because we haven't invested.
Develop certain
I think
things,
it's gotta get
but also
smaller and less
currently
sticky.
Yeah.
directed.
Well, then you have,
It's like talking about
the sort of form factor part of it. But Midjourney and Ali and all that help is another kind of simulation engine, just a real fast one. I mean, they're
And as you're
just so full of
walking and
cliches. And,
path,
if you put City of the Future, it just looks like it's not, nothing interesting
maybe that
from my point of
generates
view.
some sort
But
of energy,
it does allow you to do a little bit of the early iteration.
reaction. I'm just
Maybe,
thinking about
maybe run through some of
hybrid
the
cars right
obvious
now.
stuff.
The
You generate energy and
Yeah,
create sort of
yeah.
similar
And
things.
speed up that. All right, let's get over these.
Getting energy
Glass and
from
steel,
gravity,
gravity, line kind of
energy
things.
is a very
Yeah, I
finite
think different.
resource.
So that's useful.
Are-
Maybe it'll
I
get
feel like you
better.
could do something with that in energy development and wearable.
Think about this team.
Yeah.
One problem is the energy. You're generally very small.
I hope we have team names. That's always,
Well, yeah,
that's
they-
first priority.
yeah,
That's
they
first
need
on
to
the
do that.
team name. What's the team name?
Build an identity.
Some of these things, did you work on this? This is interesting.
Oh, I'm not saying it's powering a lot, but if you're operating on like the dark side or the far side.
Workforce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
think one of the questions that I would have on
The other thing I was thinking about that was not related to that was one thing that I think this map really missed, and I don't have an artifact of it,
Yeah, I mean,
necessarily at the
it's hard
beginning.
for me not to
Was
wanna
this
go
map
upstream and do
doesn't
a whole
have a sort of detail flag in it.
power
So,
dynamics, the human
like,
relations.
I don't think by 2050 we're going to figure out how to exceed the speed of light in this communication. And if we're just casually, if we're operating on Mars, in the asteroid belt, I mean, to some extent, the moon, it's going to take like seconds, but it's going to take minutes to
It
get
doesn't
right.
allow that kind
And
of
so people are going to have to
scale
develop
of
like
importance.
effectively independent economies, given the reliance of the financial system on timing today. So if, like, for instance, you're not gonna be able to do quant trading,
some of these things are hard.
in Mars.
I'm building one of those.
And there are going to be these critical gaps that
only
remain
Okay, on the next
establishing
horizon, yeah.
societies develop independently. It's not an artifact, but that was like one thing that really struck me is he assumed immediate transfer of information sort of, and what's going on here.
Sort of
Which is not really logical with logical. Yeah.
I need to, I was
Yeah, when you talk about Avatar.
Yeah, I didn't do this math, but yes, so, yeah, I'm sure there's lots.
Well, saying speed of light, like we're probably not gonna get over that by 2050, and so there's going to be, depending on where you are, seconds or minutes of lag in information, so you're not gonna be able to have an economy that's linked, given quantitative trading, or, talking about avatars. Because you can't physically get the speed of information in that way.
Yeah, like, yeah, we all know, like, I've only recently heard about this, like, moving time zones, like, how do you deal with this sort of structural issue, what is time, even beyond the lab, how do you structurally create institutions around it? Trade-offs.
Yep. But I didn't have an artifact in that.
Yeah.
Well, what if you had like, so you have no filter, you're on Mars, you also in Earth, right? And maybe even, you can't really have a phone call because there's like an 8-minute gap. But what if, I don't know, you send a message back, you're only waiting for a response. Maybe they've already sent you some videos, or it's using some sort of AI to kind of fill in those gaps with still stuff about them, but not their actual bodies.
So say this is a super corporate world, for example, and you're right. Point about stock trading. Think about this. Like, what are the hacks? What are the responses? Like, do we want an economy that's linked? And then would there be like policies or technologies that would be interlinked, intervening to say, okay, we're gonna have a trade, so that we equal out the movement in trade and earth trade. And then the technical arms race to get another millisecond faster. Or, you know, is there somebody that does like arbitrage that gets, sort of in what you're saying in a way, like, I'm gonna make this sports bet. Millisecond, because I can see it, yeah, right?
Exactly.
That was happening in these high frequency trades.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think the natural human nature next step is
Yeah.
whatever you do, we will find a way around it
That's
to
right.
promote,
Yeah.
enhance our.
That's a great artifact fodder. It's like, you know, box or a soft piece of software that's being sold. It's like, you know, sort of hack. We're gonna get you ahead, you know, the millisecond ahead, and you know, we're gonna shoot neutrons into the bottom of it. We're gonna buy a building under the stock exchange and get as close as possible, and you know, like all this.
Then it's microwave towers versus fiber optic
Yeah,
cables.
yeah.
Secretly building the infrastructure to
Yeah.
get that just
Yeah.
whatever.
Thinking like a hacker, criminal, or capitalist is a very good thing to do. It's like, how can I exploit this situation? And you want to represent that.
They're not fun. That's terrible. Like,
Well, we have a handful of great ideas here. I actually want to encourage everybody to submit ones. I think you're going to have time to present each of them. So before you all join around the table, we had you were focused on the suits, right?
Like used to like
No, right. You have the
Bacteria to give you certain capabilities, forward on the spheres, or like breathe underwater.
Sorry, that's led with
Microorganisms that you rub on.
the cream.
Get concrete about it. Is it in a lab? Is it
No, it's commercial,
totally
it's like makeup
Yeah.
or sunscreen.
All right.
It's very ubiquitous.
Native to the suit.
And we're now used to the idea of introducing like foreign organisms.
Yeah.
Second nature.
Yeah, so think about genres. Is it a pop-up app or whatever it is? Like, how is it being delivered? You take that next step when you're making something.
You had talked about it being in the suit, right? In the suit body to introduce into the environment and immediately have an impact.
I was thinking of it, like somebody walking down the beach and they go, and they're like, oh, I want to swim underwater, so they go to the surf and buy the cream that introduces the organisms to allow them to, transfer the oxygen and water in their lungs.
You should go propose that to the lush installation. It's downstream.
And so this is in your wheelhouse, the space junk protection, and there's two methodologies.
Yeah. So it's kind of like two systems. One part is sensing and have a plasma gun to shoot plasma particles, like electrons or negative charge particles, to like cover the debris or integrate with the debris. Or it could be like bullets. Like, and anyways, the end goal is to have the space debris have like negative charge. And then you have another part of the system where you are generating magnetic field, and you can deflect these space junk away from your maybe space hotel or a free flowing space structure, something like that.
So to borrow what you directed was, what's the delivery methodology?
How you're representing is like a technician at a dashboard, and you maybe in the details of what he or she is looking at, you know, you could have some of those.
I'm thinking more has an area of responsibility, and they can it's an independent spacecraft that it can be a spacecraft that is autonomously charged with protecting a certain structure and sensing a policy reaction autonomously, and
human can be on the loop to monitor the situation, and maybe readjust high level responses.
Well, I guess if you're in China,
it actually automates it. Yeah.
But the regulatory body needs.
Do you have a name for it?
Collaboration.
There you go.
I used to ask ChatGPT to generate names.
I bet it would come up with a bunch of good ideas.
Oh, what do you got? Try out some names.
The more you do, like look over.
Oh, it could be Sentry. It could be Bubble. It could also be like Ionosphere. So it can also protect against radiation. You could have a
Like, how do you promote people going?
Shield, blanket, you know, yeah.
Don't turn into
That's the
like-
thing, like the technical side of it, yeah, like security blankets. This is where like the, you know, the mix of sort of technical sort of thinking and science meets the kind of communication advertisement. You have to sort of make it sticky. You know, what are the hooks that people can understand? It's a you know, in some ways a complicated story if you want to dive in there, but what's like the, you know, what's the sort of hook for people to understand, you know,
I think
what
that's
it's
a
actually
good
doing.
point. Even the most sophisticated things that humans create seem to invite these kind of often comical, punny names, abbreviations, acronyms.
Well, I think Elon Musk is very good at getting names.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
It's
some
part
of
of
the
it.
bills in Congress are just fantastical acronyms.
Yeah, Neuralink, yeah. I mean, that's, you know, that's for his and others marketing. For us, we're just, you're always thinking about the audience. Like, how can I give a useful shortcut for people to understand what the story is? You know, what are the ways I can do that? Because you're not gonna have usually not gonna have a chance to, you know, spend 20 minutes explaining like, what's going technically, but, you know, ending the doorway in. And so some of those sort of branding and naming conventions.
What does it look like in these ones? Which one did you want to put different?
Well,
Right now, it's the most.
yeah, I'll think further about what the actual artifact is, but I think that's an area that I haven't really heard explored a lot, but has really massive impact, not just on finance, but on, you know, international diplomacy. If you have such a lag in information, and then you have to make decisions without, you know, without.
And raises interesting points. I don't think there's a lot of conversation about how do we build a society with that difficulty. We do see the time lag addressed in simulated Mars missions, for example. They bake in this delay in how they feed it in communications reports or how we're going to execute a lunar mission. But I haven't heard any conversation either about finance on the direct
But the problem with CO2 usually is you're trying to figure out what's happening within that time. Like what's
Exactly.
because you're 8 minutes behind. So what if you had some sort of AI that took a different engine, which is trying to guess 8 minutes out, is the stock going to go up or down?
Yeah.
Is the Mars Bengals going to score a touchdown?
Exactly.
And then you can almost wager on what's going to happen in the future, and it's almost on a futures market that's 8 minutes out.
You know, it's interesting because like,
Come on in.
communications delays is something that's already simulated in our there are, you know, how stuff like, I mean, we already have
The whole CO2 effect, like, there's literally gonna be a whole age of like people are gonna be manufacturing things, and it's like.
We had 6 astronauts go out to Utah to the Mars Research Station in November, December, and they tested a Discord server that had the delay built in as if it would be lift to Mars constantly. The test of it is pretty interesting.
The airlines.
yeah, it's like bounding those kinds of.
They were not making trades, they were making sports bets, but they were asking about the World Cup results, so, I mean,
You can get somewhere, you can get somewhere a whole lot faster than a rocket.
Make that 8-bit engine the more you reduce the communication gap.
Yeah.
what happens to the debris in your system? Is it,
Yeah, it was like
is
30,
it
0 G.
neutralized, is it atomized?
Or it could be trapped, it could be
It was out of,
collected into a
they
cloud.
used to
Use a magnet together and plug once you charge.
It should be
Negative.
To like retrieve and
It
trap?
used to be.
But if you have multiple of these instances, you can
Nobody ever thought this SpaceX was gonna get
zone, where you have a massive collector, or a black hole.
Could be a resource reclamation thing too, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It could be actually, recycling
Circular
systems.
tanks with a little,
Cause like,
piece of
there's a lot of
fabric,
recommendations.
to help.
That's what
Is
we're
it?
saying.
So you put air.
Yeah, the mass
They
of
could also
everything
be used
right now.
to like catch
Supposedly,
Ashram itself, a different
if
size
everything
things,
goes
pieces of
right,
material.
our tickets will be, if you
and
fill up.
I just need to get the asteroid that's 70% gold.
And you want to hide that,
Case, one of our people got.
you sell
That's
them
what we
without
have.
like
So,
depressing market prices. Slowly, very slowly.
So like if that happens, then
Should we be thinking about, when we're in this exercise,
there's
monetization,
enough control going on there.
commercialization,
Like flying.
is this idea worth
Data came back.
even exploring to the point of viability, or?
Yep, yeah, I mean, build it
It
out,
didn't come back
well,
at the end.
it has to be logic,
So
you
we
can't
did
just
capture
make
some
magic,
data, but it wasn't
things
as
happen.
much as we would.
But it can be very speculative, it can push the edges. Alright, well, there's an arms race in finding out these, when we've already seen those arms races, they're always like crazy.
And they have
Investments that are put in to just shave off like these nanosecond.
They literally will like.
Yeah, think like that,
something,
you know,
and then
think like an entrepreneur, exploiter, a hacker, a criminal, and run those, run through the cycle, okay, well, the criminal, what was the response?
Ground-based laser.
You often can tell a story by the second or third turn, you come to something, and then you see, oh yeah, that's what we got here. Cars and roads, okay, well, alright, road rage, or, a gun holster in your car because people are crazy from road rage, you just think about the things that spin out from those turns of consequence.
Essentially, it's your rocket.
Yeah, good material for art.
Yes, or hit, yes, you just sandblast.
I like each year.
Yeah.
I'm not putting one out there because I'm.
We gotta pick one, right?
I want each of you to present it actually.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
We have a
Oh, actually.
Do we have the, sheets?
So like everything else
You have,
Yeah.
yeah, they
I have my judging ones.
Yeah, I have a pen if you'd like to borrow it, or if you wanna just speak off the.
Go underneath.
But I think what they'll be doing before they're gonna judge you in the ease of communication. They're gonna judge you in the, content of the idea, and then there's a third category.
Content of your character?
What's that?
It's the content of your character?
Content of your character. Sorry. Oh, yeah, let's check the judging sheet.
Novelty, potential impact, communication.
Yeah, so potential impact of your.
So novelty is like,
Like anything over,
Which I- yeah, I mean,
particle
I'm
over some size.
really impressed with probiotics.
Yeah.
It's,
Microbiome engineering.
yeah.
we're already doing that, we're putting it into our system, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Do you have
Yogurt.
Are you in medicine or microbiology?
No, but, I've been fascinated by it. For me,
Not here, but I'm here.
Like if you've ever,
I have
if you've ever like,
in Hesper.
if you've ever looked at a telescope,
It's
like.
there's this theory that hookworms,
Like,
which we
if you're trying to hit from far,
Yeah.
they're not moving, it's like,
they were able to control your, they were able to test that
We're saying that that would be difficult.
so that you, so that you wouldn't have allergies.
We
Like
literally
allergies,
get ground ice tracker, we're tracking them on fire boards, right?
So they were
Like,
good
you
after
start
all.
selecting the organ, the lowest
Possibly.
things.
Yeah.
You start like.
And so you actually have,
things that are
you
ripping
actually
around.
have companies
You start slowing
where
them down.
their product is as easier than ours. To try to alleviate allergies and medicine. Yeah, and so you draw that out, where does that end?
I mean, it's like leeches inside your lungs. You wonder what the reaction time is when we take a probiotic. What is
we know exactly where it's gonna like go.
time lapse between 2 minutes for them to
Like how many times? Like 8 times?
apply sunscreen 30 minutes before you go out or whatever, apply probiotic cream 20 minutes before you go out.
No, the idea you're secreting the sunscreen.
Yeah.
And I'll apply it.
Yeah, that's also my thinking, if it's biological, it can be self-reinforcing.
Then are you changing our genetic makeup? Is it?
Well, that was the other thing I was thinking about, because what if you're feeling down and instead of an antidepressant, you focus on some bacteria?
Why don't policymakers, it might
Increase
be a part of it.
the
You might need some, years over there.
You are
Like,
like,
I don't know,
or maybe
like,
I don't know,
they're not the one that's in charge,
you know,
but it's like.
But even kind of
These are all
especially
questions
physics,
that,
because you want to try to know.
So where do the
Yes,
criminals
that's what I'm
get
saying, there's more people for policy, like, if I go talk to my governor in Texas, and I'm like,
Bacteria
They
that
don't
can
even-
create hallucinogenic substances that make you very suggestive. You know, or how many bacteria that creates alcohol?
Some people are actually naturally, they naturally ferment. They will fail a driver.
talking to engineers is just not fun either, you know, because like, literally like the whole.
I mean, we have the
NASA
ability
is
to
never
do
straight.
that.
So it's like.
Any particular questions or thoughts or want to work on your games or?
Nobody.
You know, what's your timeline? It's 30 minutes
I
left.
think we're about ready.
What's the reason?
Give everybody a minute.
Yeah. We're about ready to get to that stage, so
Boom.
take a minute or
Nothing's
two
getting
to
done.
collect your thoughts.
Yeah, private industry is like away.
Uh,
That's right.
Oh, there are prizes. Small enough.
So led with that.
That's a dope purple. I got like 8. Yeah, that was cool. I basically.
You said you, you're at it.
Yeah, this is Foundry. Nice to meet you. I have to run a satellite conference in DC, so I'm really over the military. Yeah, I'm gonna come back here Thursday though, 'cause it's my first out ride, so I thought I'd just come for fun.
We have, a couple things. We'll have straight up different.
They work, they probably, yeah.
Yeah, we run a dinner Monday night, so everyone's happening there for with that, and
I'm only in the communications. You support logistics and events. Technical minds. Although the futures team has kind of brought me into
So like when you solve that problem of like consolidation,
Go ahead and sketch an idea of how to write it.
where are you based?
like a lot of like.
Oh, okay.
but I'm
Told my parents about like.
we're in Prison City and
Yep.
Love it. Literally the same thing. But the thing is that I can do industry is a lot of
we're everywhere. Everywhere the Space Force is, we're in NASA.
way to great.
And we have UK subsidiary. Yeah, we opened that 2 years ago. That's all. We have 42 people there for the summer. Grow the local talent base.
Wow, love it.
There's a story. We don't do that.
I'm with the Satellite Industry Association, so we work with about 60 different companies
Basically
across the
like
city sector.
spaces.
I'm on their policy side. Yes. The satellite industry.
You're in DC.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course, yes. Sealed.
I'm with Aerospace Corporation, which is I simplify that, call it space non-profit 500. We're doing technical expertise for the engineering.
A minute to tell your idea to the judges.
Love it. Alright, I gotta get my Simon Cowell.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I need like
Yeah, don't be handing out top scores.
We should put our chairs.
Why do you get to be
this way.
Simon? We all, we have 3 Simons.
Any miniature presentations?
So, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a no for me. I would know.
Oh, yeah, no, okay.
We should face all our chairs.
It's a horse's mouth, that'll work.
I know,
for
it
your
seems
pitch?
like this
Yeah.
is very
Okay,
fun.
well, I think I'm ready. If you're,
All right, here we go.
You're still
Wait, I
working,
need-
go ahead, but
I need
we've
my
got our
judging
first
thing.
thing here.
Do another pen.
Yes.
I need like a clipboard or something. This is very serious judging people. Very official.
We start?
Go for it.
Go for it.
Okay. So imagine 2050, and we want to explore space, and we want to experience the beauty of the landscape. So, and we want to build structures in space, but the question is, how do we protect them, and what are the design constraints if we have to deal with space debris, space junk, which will constrain the design of that artifact. And my idea, my artifact, my system is a low-cost solution to protect large-scale space structures, like space hotels or spacecraft, or for exploration, could be transiting between planets. But you need a solution, a lower-cost solution to protect them. And my solution is my solution have 2 parts. One is a sensing and tagging part, where we want to have a way to tag or attach, we want to put negative charged particles onto small-scale space debris, and maybe have like bullets, negative charged bullets for larger space debris. The idea is so that these debris would interact with the second element of our system, which is a magnetic field that's able to interact with now the tagged space debris to deflect it away from your space structure, space hotel, and essentially deflecting the debris away from these amazing space structures that we're gonna build. That's my pitch.
And you're Alan?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
Alan.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any quick questions from the judges before we move on to our next person?
Do you have a brand name for this, or title?
I say ion shield. The analogy is with Earth's ionosphere that protects us against radiation, against debris. So that's the analogy, and it also shields that system. Yeah.
Very good.
Insurance and security, I like it.
All right. Which group
Well done.
or individual would like to go next?
How many groups are there?
I think we had a couple
We
ideas.
have
floating
several
around
different
this one.
ideas in 2 of the groups, so.
Come on, folks, don't be shy.
There we go.
All right.
Give us your name.
Hey, I'm Chris.
Hey, Chris.
What you see here is a simply revolutionary development. It is a ball of water that is traveling through a weightless environment. Now, this might not be a very complicated thing, but the way that we got there was quite difficult. It is coated in a membrane that is made out of nutritional things that have been solidified into an unbreakable surface that only responds to saliva. So unless it's put in your mouth, it cannot break. And this is a rehydration tool for people entertaining themselves on a long journey. It's 2050. A vehicle is exiting our solar system, and there is a large enough population there that they need to find entertainment. And this ball happens to be flying through a large concert that is happening in the public gathering area.
Okay, interesting.
And everybody is dancing to a music that is resonating throughout the space. New dance moves are being formed, and the weightlessness is because the vehicle is not under power. And it's being shot from a cannon because it's inconvenient for people to carry these. And so that cannon is slinging balls at people whenever they become thirsty because their movement has become difficult. And that is the water ball.
Love it.
You need this at the next planning letter.
Seriously, I love that idea.
Who's next?
Did y'all collaborate on that single idea?
It was a team effort.
Okay. So we have 2 more then.
Okay. Wait a minute. Did we get a
Oh,
name?
yeah.
Did we get a
Oh,
name
good, good.
for this one? Other than water ball? Is that the name of it?
I just wrote
I'm just gonna write water ball. Love it.
It's gonna be really hard to try to convey into words, but this project is double prime, and it will be an AI containment and abstraction layer. Essentially, we will model the entire universe into a digital twin. And you can imagine these stars will populate, AI systems, and these AI systems will essentially be contained to these star nodes. You could kind of think of this like star node map as like a classification indexing system. And these star nodes are separated by a firewall called space. Now, you can kind of start to understand this by thinking of yourselves as an AI system contained to Earth, right? So if we have these AI systems contained on different planets, and we can run these simulations in concurrent accelerated environments, eventually one of these AI systems will jump from one planet to another. So then we'll reverse engineer how those AI systems make the jump, and then that's how we'll make warp travel possible. So,
Love it.
double primacy artifact.
At what level of granularity do you model this? How specific do you have to be? Is it just like I'm an AI agent generally, or is there something specific?
It's going to require billions of dollars of money and resources.
Love it.
And
That's another panel.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. What was your name again?
John Stokes.
John. Awesome. Thank you.
Then a couple more.
I think that's fair to say that would be game changer.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Okay, so as we're looking to the future, we have off-world urbanist civilizations. One thing that was not on the chart that I think is going to be of critical importance is the time lag in getting information, because unless physics changes, information can only travel maximally at the speed of light. And so right now, the moon is, I think, 1.3 light seconds away. If we're talking asteroid belt or Mars, we're talking minutes. And it's going to be critical to information exchange in a bunch of different sectors in the future, whether that's in finance, where right now we're talking milliseconds, when we're talking high volume trading on the stock market, or if you are in a space battle, you have minutes of delay in information about what has actually happened, and you're trying to figure out what's next. So my space artifact is called FinAstra, and it is a financial tool designed to figure out what is happening on Earth, assuming that's still the primary economy. It may not be eventually, but it could be interpreted in other dimensions. And what it does is it aggregates financial signals in the areas of closest distance to Earth to be able to infer what is happening in the trading community. Because if you're thinking, if you're communicating between, for instance, the Earth and Mars, only one side of Earth is facing Mars at a time, so you have no idea what's going on the side of the Earth that's not facing Mars. You have a much more direct communication signal with the side of Earth that's facing Mars. I mean, you can eventually get the information on the far side of Earth, but you've got a delay because you have to relay that information to a satellite. You can't get the information directly. So there is some sort of milliseconds of lag in getting information from the far side of Earth. So it's much more financially beneficial for your personal economy on Mars or wherever you happen to be to aggregate signals from the near side of Earth and determine what sort of trades you should make rather than waiting for the delay in information from the far side, even if that's where the transaction's taking place. So that has been Astra. Thank you.
I think I'm the last one. Hi, everybody. My name's John. I was thinking about probiotics and how we're becoming more comfortable with ingesting little bugs to help make us get us back to normal or make us better. So I came up with my design, which is I'll call it Happy Bugs. And what it is let's say I'm going on a trade conference to the planet Tyrus, right? And Tyrus, it's doesn't have as much oxygen as Earth. So I get there and I need more oxygen. So I go to the local store and I buy a capsule of oxygen-producing bacteria, and I put it in my little inhaler right here, and I breathe it in. The bacteria infects my body, and they're able to do something so that I can draw more oxygen out of the atmosphere. And I do my conference, and I want to go to the beach, and so I don't need sunscreen. I just go to the store and buy another capsule of bacteria that I'll breathe in, and then they'll go to my skin and automatically produce sun-blocking compounds oozing out of my skin. And then I want to go swimming, but I want to go swimming under the water. So I buy another capsule that allows me to draw oxygen from the water, and so I take it like there. The bacteria infects my lungs, allows me to breathe oxygen out of water. And wherever I go, they have their own little local version of this to breathe their atmosphere or to digest their food, whatever. Happy Bugs. Still working on it.
Any other submissions? All right, so we've got 5 total, right?
Yeah.
Correctly? Okay. So we'll give the judges a minute to kind of tally up their scores.
You tally it up.
We can tally it up.
I'll tally mine. That's what you're saying.
Any thoughts
Oh, yeah.
as you were yeah, I love that we have a physical prop there.
I have a thought.
Yeah.
So I really like the water ball idea. I think that's more like a century away because your scenario is at outer solar system, is it? So it's like it's not 2050 thing.
Cool.
You know how cool Happy Bugs would be?
Yeah, it's like at that point,
It would be amazing.
you know,
I was
that's
gonna ask
there's a
who-
lot of
who's your,
humanitarian
who's your supplier
uses
of all
for that.
these bacteria.
Many different suppliers. So it'd be role specific, but maybe you want to do a volleyball game, and so you want to get more ups. Maybe Nike supply those bugs to give you stronger legs.
Is that doping?
Huh?
I said, is that doping?
It's called innovation.
Right. Thank you.
What I loved about that was, and I mentioned this in the discussion, but you're limited by your payload size, the mass that you're traveling with. But if you had a bacteria that was kind of fast replicated, it can create itself over time. So your distributor doesn't need to have that much supply. It can just be engineered to create itself, and it only happens once it gets there and once you activate it. So your payload, your weight is much tighter. Not that it would be a tablet versus a single organism.
carry millions of them with you and have that for
Yep.
and then you don't have to, resupply.
Okay.
You good?
I'm good.
Okay, I'll take, or I guess we can. count.
Oh, should I write my
Average
name
it.
on these too?
Well,
Are you gonna like
We'll,
add them all
we'll do
up?
like an average or something like that here.
It's out of my
So,
hands then,
there
so
you go.
nobody gets to
One more
blame
That's
me.
right, that's right.
For the result.
Yeah. Your personal vendetta.
This was
stuff.
fun.
Well, I can.
I wanna do this again with like kids.
Yes.
Like I wanna, you know what I
That
mean,
would be
like,
so much fun.
or like, you know what I mean, like just go to different kinds of gatherings of groups. This is your
That's-
job, right? This is literally what you do. Oh, that's so
Part
cool.
of it, yeah.
That's great.
It's
Well,
very
and
creative.
that actually raises a good point, because this is something that our team was thinking about too. How do you make like age-appropriate activities?
Yeah.
Because I think
That was
the
awesome.
space debris one
Mhm.
is actually frightening for a lot of kids. We tried doing this, like I did this for STEM day.
Oh,
and
did you?
One of the girls was like actually afraid, and I'm like, no, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But that actually is, it's something we need to think about, is like, how do we do, getting back to my point on communications earlier, like, how do you make it age appropriate?
Yeah. Well, sometimes congressmen get scared of space debris as well.
This is true.
Not scared enough.
Yeah.
Well, I was impressed in
That
a
was
very short
great.
period of time without a lot of, scaffolding for you all, just the minimal that you kind of jumped in, did enough world building to sort of figure out what's going on and then be able to get up and tell a story. I mean, all of you had a good rap, you're like able to sort of paint a picture for us and do that storytelling. So yeah, in a very quick hitting kind of thing, it was really cool to see you all take it and try to communicate it. One of the things, I mean, it's an art, it's not just like, oh, I got a check mark. Like, really think about your audience. What are the shortcuts that I can do narratively? Like, what are the analogs or metaphors or ways to help people to really understand that? So, leaning into those communication techniques and helping people, because it's a cognitive load. Like, oh wait, I've got an AI digital twin of the universe. Like, there's a lot for people to hold in their heads when you're describing new concepts that maybe they haven't heard of before. So what can you lean on that's familiar? Like, an inhaler.
X for
okay,
X.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
lowering the complexity a little bit, and the sort of the compounding load that people have to carry. Use those little tricks and shortcuts to help. It's really useful. And you all did that kind of naturally. So.
Yeah. Well done.
What do you guys think was the most challenging aspect as participants in trying to, again, given such little scaffolding and little background, like, what was the most challenging part for you guys?
Coordinating with other people.
The teamwork part?
Okay.
I'm glad you said focus on world building, because I was already jumping to objects, and that would have made it much more difficult.
All right. You can get there. You can get some interesting things. I just think it's much more robust. And I think about it like an archaeologist. If you found an artifact that was created by a world, and in some sense, the whole world is embedded in that. If you can interpret it in a way, so you're sort of doing the reverse of that. Can I embed a world in this thing where if somebody held it in their hand, would they be able to? Would that rest of that world be evoked? What kind of world had to exist for this thing to be made? Is kind of the goal as you're building it
It's
out.
like thinking about curating like a museum exhibit or something
Yeah.
like that. Like, how would you describe this on a plaque if it were like displayed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just changes the value of your understanding as well, to have that world around an artifact. I mean, if you show me a old looking piece of wood, I'm gonna be like, all right, cool, kindling. But if you tell me that piece of wood was a part of a Viking ship that has been in all these places and it belonged to this person and this is what was going on in the world at that time, suddenly that rotting piece of wood is the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so even the most mundane looking or seeming objects, when in the right context, it completely changes how you interpret it and how the value that brings to your understanding, and then what you do with it subsequently. And I don't know, on the policy side, there's a lot of value to that level of understanding and that kind of, I hate breaking things down into justifying how you're going to pay for it and how you're going to, get it off of the hill. But there's so much value into having a strong story behind something. And I mean, all of us, we all got into space. Well, not all of us, but so many of us were born and bred on Star Wars and Star Trek, and those stories really pushed us to where we are now. And so even the stories around the innovations that we see, I mean, Relativity and their 3D printed rockets.
Which I
that
have
was
to check to
yeah,
see
we
if
need
that
yeah we need to
actually
check on that.
launched.
Oh, they scrubbed it.
I knew they did once, but at 4 o'clock they also.
Yeah. Ah, shoot. Okay. But they're having those stories to fuel, not only the creative side, the innovation, the development, but also on the side of the people who are consuming it and understanding it and watching it grow. So I'm glad that the world building was a factor in this, and I'm glad to see everyone just really grabbed it by the horns. So that's been really fun to see.
Yeah, we struggle even on our team with that because our team's only a few years old within Aerospace Corporation. But that's been fun to do, both internal to our own company, helping our own bosses understand the future as well as like the larger future of the industry.
If you design it, make it understandable by kids, you're probably going to do a good job of getting ready for representatives and elected officials. Probably, it's a pretty close circle.
I don't want to say dumb it down.
All right.
Simple.
Yes.
We
First
have,
principles.
yeah, drum roll please.
Yes, let's go.
Third place with a total of 38 points goes to Double Prime.
Yay! Well done. Well done. That was John's, I think, right? John.
Yeah, you right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well done.
Second place, beating out third place by just 1 more point, was Finn Astra.
Very nice.
Financial
Well done.
And first place with 42 points, which is a fantastic number to end on, is Waterball.
Yay! Well done.
So we have some prizes for you, and the good news is we've got plenty. We have, oh, did I put them in the back?
I have some Astroscale stickers too, if people want them. Just saying.
You're prepared.
They're in the back.
I wanted to give
We
you
have decks of cards that our company printed up that are, I don't even know how many are in there, but it's, yeah. We have decks of cards with little innovation. It's called Convergence, a game exploring the unknowns of the future space enterprise. So we did is took a lot of the specific elements on that futures map, turned them into playing cards or baseball cards, and I'm not even sure that there's even rules for this, other than pulling out several together and saying, well, what happens if 3 of these things happen simultaneously? What world can I build with that? So you can do sort of a mashup of different activities.
More like Cards for Humanity.
Cards for Humanity. So we've got FinTech.
Thank you. Cards for.
And then we have
How many do you have?
I was gonna say, honestly.
I think everybody has
cards. But you guys get them first, so that's. But yeah, I've got
So I can trade them
And
now
you have-
before
you have
anyone else
bragging
has them,
rights.
and
Yeah,
so they're
bragging
higher
rights.
price. Is that how it works?
You get to go back to wherever you came from and say, I won. I was a medaled,
That's right.
honored participant.
But everybody else gets one too. So, all right. Well, thanks very much for participating, and hope you guys got something out of this. Again, check out the futures map in more detail. It's got a little bit more of the background and kind of how we got there, some of the takeaways that we thought of as being like sort of the critical uncertainties for the future of space, things like governance and AI usage and all kinds of fun stuff. And then, I don't know, Parker, do we have any other?
No, just really appreciate y'all coming out, having a little bit of fun, less, talk and more lean in and workshop, and really enjoy the time. Thanks.
Let's give one last round of appreciation for our judges.
You all did all the work, so. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much,
Good job,
everybody.
everyone.
I did really
That
like
was
the
fun.
words.
I think stickers.
I want stickers.
I want a sticker. You want a sticker?
I did really like the words. I think the microbiome idea is going to be very critical.
Yeah, thanks for gonna take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Homework.
Yeah.
I have my story. Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
The hydroball
I
is
just
full
got in.
of-
Yeah.
You had stored stuff.
A lot of planning.
Sure.
Of course, thank you.
Thanks.
A little bit of pressure.
I think I'll just do this.
Mark, where do we have that?
Paul,
What do you do?
I learned so you probably have met. Probably
I do, but it was not.
Thank you.
But it's doing engine calculation,
How are you? Yeah, Springfield. I know, no, oh my gosh, but like once we, I think AIA completely got us engaged on another front, so it's pointing in the right direction.
What feedback can you give me? Because I want to become a stellar for my startup.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
I work
Yeah.
with John Miller.
You're first too. Yeah, so you jumped us down. So that's a good start. I think practice. You want to set like.
Yes.
They,
I was gonna say, it's a one-to-one training, they switch it up.
yeah, they
There's a lot of stuff,
I
complexity behind it, but just lead with the
I don't
things.
believe
and
that.
the tool to grasp
Simplify.
about it.
I think you did a good
Love,
job.
absolutely love Steve. Miss David. But,
It's a small community.
Yeah.
yeah.
How people feel about it.
And you're with,
Nice job.
what's your role with this again?
They're senior director of policy. Alright, sounds good. Yeah. Love it.
More of those.
But it's good to meet you.
Oh, a little bit, yeah, I mean, no expert for sure, but, you know, the forces pushing in that direction. Our work is type orders just aren't very credible to the world. I mean, there's a moral or ethical side to it too, but there's also like a practicality to it. Like, we're not gonna be able to, people aren't gonna be able to stay where they are for the next 15 years.
What do you do?
Yeah, I'll try to.
Yeah. That's up, I wanna have.
Yeah, please. Yeah, LinkedIn's probably best. Not on Facebook anymore. Twitter for now, but yeah, LinkedIn's best.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't wanna
Pretty
watch.
immersed in the like digital governance.
Yeah, you know, meta governance, meta government. I think meta governance. Nathan Schneider. I think it's metagov.org. Check that. They have now they have dozens of talks and things. Just on that point, like digital governance, yes, but then it expands to non-spatial or community. It's a good community resource to look at. Thank you. Yeah. Contact me on LinkedIn, John, right? Yeah. All right. Nice to meet you.
So I just talked to John, so John and I meet weekly, and we were talking about tech, he was like, here, talk to Jake. Thanks, Jake. And then Jen and I were all off to the races, so.
Good
And
time.
Jen put together one, like, just put together one great list of all.
Oh, the guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you guys? I've been handing those cards out.
Oh, that's right.
You know what, I missed the QR code.
Coming back, I have a buddy who's a marketing person.
Yes, just gotta go, like, you know, it started with the restaurant industry and COVID, and it's like reinvented it, so I thought QR codes. We don't have to.
Yeah, what, like,
So no one have a card? Oh my god, I'm gonna look at it. Oh, the AIA card, yay. Aerospace is awesome, yay. And see for us,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's great. AI is stuff.
From a safety perspective.
We have, I think, one or two.
yeah.
Yeah.
Making sure that systems
Yeah, it is. Well,
certified.
particularly for this one, because it's kind of got a
criteria.
Oh, thank you. Oh my god. Really? I know.
Oh,
I'm in my neighborhood, so like, I'm
So I was, I know.
really?
So I said to, I said, Parker, come, we'll have fun, and he's kind of like, okay, like, it's been so long since we've had fun.
What is fun?
What is
In person, animal condition, people.
It's okay, I like sugar block, I like less
I know, I just don't know, I know how those boots gonna do walking around. Those are nice.
They've
Those are
got
great.
the rubber soles on them, you know, they're not the Western style.
Yeah, those pointy toes.
See, that's the ones that I have that were.
I'm from Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm debated, because I'm continuing from here to go to DC for like some walk down, like, you know, DC, and I was like,
You do the same trip, you going up.
Or are you going back to satellite?
You know, we're not doing satellite, we're doing kind of a carve out event that's like during, during satellite but offsite, so. Yeah, I can't, for the life of me, I can't figure out, I just think people are so enthusiastic about coming together. Satellite's not usually the show that we're seeing it be this year, so.
Yeah, see, I was getting a
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're waiting for everyone's saving their budget.
Well, and then like somebody, what Space Force, what I think they do, you gotta go at it, good job.
Maybe, can you put the features map up on the screen?
$1 to see all of our, so.
All right.
Hey, I need to give you one of these.
Yeah, so maybe
have
what
my
you're saying is
email,
people
but
going to
like-
satellite, because maybe they're not getting into Space Symposium.
Nice to meet you.
Trying to get an
Space Symposium.
Yeah.
For this conference, I
Yeah, we're similar to this is fine, right? A lot more space, but it's on the policy side.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Well, they have an intern program where you volunteer for setting up and taking down.
I'm wondering if you would be interested in talking to some of my teammates.
Yeah, sure.
I have a card.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it came in during the middle
Really
grade.
intrigued on the sitting next to you and some of the guys in the team.
I have
We're
one
looking to
that's
talk to people right now.
We've got a couple of really good people.
It's really good.
Yeah, happy to chat.
On the ground.
I think you get more
Until we
entertainment.
define
You
it.
get more out of it.
I mean,
Yeah, well, how do we chat
to y'all's credit.
Was it a good use of your time?
They're actually pretty well utilized.
But like, and
Where are you based?
It's all over the place. I text
don't take it
but
personally.
most of
No,
the
What I mean is,
so hard to
all
get
over.
the
Some
time
of you guys
complete.
live in LA.
Our summer projects were like, we would like 8 hours of your time, Mr. Senior.
Sold out
Where do you sit?
Well, if you
I
go
would
to
be
it,
so-
There's some
yeah.
really great
Yeah.
immersive stuff that
primarily,
it
like,
takes a lot of
Yeah,
time
we
to
actually got
see it
our
from
early
What did
career
you-
folks
what do you
in the
guys-
area to be
like I have 2 young kids, so I have a 3-year-old
And-
and
Yeah, so maybe
And then everybody else
in
in the field.
Yeah, right.
Satellite.
Yeah, it's I just thought this is my first time
And
South by Southwest in a long time.
It's really
So,
hard.
and not here for like, last time,
But it's very different from this
Situation with
Yeah.
different
working.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to like bring y'all and some other companies into a different
See things that are just
It's
never
like there's a
gonna work
debate
out.
aspect, there's a satcoms aspect, a super aspect.
I can explain that
More
to
like,
people.
like you were saying, like interactive.
No, but if you don't get it right, your entire,
I mean,
like, that kind of going
one of the, like, one of the standout elements when I was at our summit, we had like a range of languages. And we had like 2 hours the first day,
there's so much.
3 hours the second
Yeah, really
day,
good to meet you.
and then on the third day, the last day, we had like 2 hours. And it was not a lot of time, but I think so.
I think those kind of things are just like, they're impactful things. Think about your job, how you think about it.
Startup
Okay.
scamming, you know, world with computers too.
Yeah.
Because a couple of the things that, you know, were pitched to us over the years,
This is my skill, this is my skill.
they've gone on to become either data products or
Yeah.
startups.
See right
Yeah.
here for
It's just like, you know, identify a need, make it really niche, and then put smart people in a room for a couple hours.
Now,
Attack that.
well, I
Glad we're all
got
agree.
permission to go, but not
I
actually.
know.
I mean,
So.
and I know you get, you come into this virtual summit, but like,
Yeah.
so, so, yeah.
Satellite events.
This is just the second time I've met my.
Which generally I've like been on to
3 years,
continuously,
right?
but they don't.
But I live in Nashville, I'm a
Right.
so.
Yeah.
So we're like, so we're
And I'm
actually
only
a couple
working
of
for a
tracks
company
that are not,
in Nashville.
that don't require registration, so we're doing some
That
events
is
all
happened,
right
I
now.
think I can.
That's kind of like, yeah.
Because
she's
nobody
kind
would
of
have said,
PC,
yes, it's okay for me to be
in
in a
there,
place where we don't.
that it wasn't like, there's a great.
Well, the time zone straddling between LCU
Oh, and that's super fun.
And we're like, oh, guess what?
Those folks forget where I'm at, they're like.
Aren't being covered up in this over the top.
That was.
I live
Yeah, that was
I'm in DC, so our headquarters in
I didn't
Right.
do that, but then we have our offices in the UK.
Okay, should we head out?
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah, next week.
Yeah,
you too. Let's work with this.
very, very occasionally.
You make
Denver pretty
conference
often. But yeah, I try to.
I'm gonna run to back. I'll meet you guys in the lobby. It was great to meet you.
Great to meet you. I'll listen over.
Yeah, great to
See you. See you in,
Oh, I could not have.
I'll meet you guys out here.
Sounds good.
Some form
I'm
of
just
that.
glad because like that was not always the case. Not here, but like just generally intercoordinate.
Yeah, especially.
I'm gonna head to Captain America. I'll see you on my 8th floor.
That's where we're gonna be on
I know,
Monday.
that's why I wanted to check it out, but they happen to have a panel on it. I'll check it
Wait,
out.
how far is that?
It's the 8th floor.
8th floor, okay.
Yeah,
I should
yeah,
probably
it's
scope it out
so-
too.
Because the topic is actually super interesting, like tech startup warriors innovating for national security.
I was surprised how much
Totally.
national security stuff is happening here. I didn't
You know what,
think, like,
so here's the thing, it's all about the money, baby.
well, no, I know, but like I was just
The
surprised.
panel was in
that-
this room just
Not
prior
a
to
bad
us
way.
was
Yeah.
talking
And
all
I
about
feel like
the Silicon Valley Bank and everyone wanting to know from the VCs,
oh
like
my
what's gonna happen
goodness.
on Monday.
Right.
So that was
Right, so.
That makes
Like
sense.
you were
The
talking
Silicon
about all
Valley Bank,
those
that was
discussions
huge
with brainstorm or
news.
the proposed
Yeah.
sessions.
Our
led to
good
actual
friends in
progress.
EMAC, at Aerospace
Maybe
were
it's
all
just-
over, you know,
it's on
like,
us to constrain
working
our
that
minds,
at the end of
constrain
last
stuff.
week, going,
Right.
what does it mean for the
Right.
government?
I like that.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of
I'm all about the
analysis and
puns.
say, oh, we're
I
part
don't
of
think
here,
you put
what
it
does
on our
mean?
website, but
You know,
I'll be trying.
how do we get ahead of,
It is
can we get
noticed
ahead
and
of,
appreciated.
some implication
good.
for our partners, so. Anyway, so yeah, when do you
Are you
head
gonna go to the Elmore with us, or are you gonna go downstairs?
Well, I'm definitely gonna stop downstairs just to
Okay.
check it out. And then I
So we'll
have-
see you over there then, probably.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I still don't have a badge, so I will need a gate crash. To the defense thing, the SCI thing?
Oh, yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
they should
what
have
were
gotten
you
an email.
talking about? I didn't get one.
Okay.
I think they capped.
Maybe.
I'm not, you know.
Well, we'll figure it
I
out.
don't take it personally.
Yeah.
So.
It's kind of like, walking around.
I know, it's like sliding. I know the speaker.
Yeah.
Tailgate, there's no tailgating policy on the website.
Did they say
So
that?
it's-
No, there isn't.
Oh,
But I was
okay.
asking Marlon, who left today, hey, can I borrow your badge for the
Uh-huh.
next 2 days? But it has his photo on it.
Yeah, exactly. I thought about trying to like give one to my
Photoshop a
friend,
little,
and I was
yeah.
like,
And they're like aggressively, like they're scanning it and your face shows up.
exactly.
on
I was like,
the
maybe I
screen.
put a picture of
They're
it.
used to
but
it.
no.
I
They're
have
used to
long
it.
hair and he's got a comb over kind of thingy.
Yeah, I know.
So I-
No, it wouldn't work, sorry.
I didn't want to get anybody in trouble.
I was gonna say, my friend is a very petite Ugandan woman, and I was like, I don't think this is gonna work out.
It might not fly.
I don't know if we met. I'm Sabrina.
Hi, I'm Luke.
Hi.
It's
Parker
very
and
good
I
to
work
meet you.
together.
Luke's with Astroscale.
Right?
He's going to be on our panel
Awesome.
on
Monday.
debris with Deborah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Bright
gonna
and
be
early,
fun. That's
9
all I
a.m.
know. You know what?
What
Yeah.
time are we going to get here for that, though? Because
I will be here.
I think I'm going to get here like 7:30.
Oh, I'm not gonna be here that early.
I had an
Like,
adventure getting over
So here's
here
what's
from-
funny. So let me tell you, we did at TechCrunch, we did a couple of panels. The TechCrunch crowd's the same one as this one. They get rolling like 9:30, 10 o'clock, right? We squeezed in a couple of panels that were like hardcore national security. Just say, oh, if you're interested, standing room only. It was like 7:30 in the morning.
Wow.
People like literally stand, and I was like, so that's why we said, I don't mind a 9 o'clock slot, because,
miss it. I used to
you
live
hit the
at
topic
Elevator for
right
7 years.
with the audience, they'll show up, so.
Yeah.
I lived in
I was,
Charlotte for 3 years.
I was just like, Sabrina, we totally advised you against this, and I'm like, I know.
Columbia Pike for a
And
year and a
Like, I
half.
had no
I
idea what
lived
was
in
going
tiny
on with the
towns
program here
where
overall, because it's not, like, while they have a link to this, it's not,
Yeah.
it takes many steps to get the actual program for
Right.
this venue.
Right.
And so
This
until
one's actually
Luke
really
and
cool.
Ilsa said that this was happening, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Well, it's like, it's not on the, you know.
Well, no, but no, the open house is on the official.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it
Nice.
just, it doesn't have anything other than like, it's open.
Come down.
Well, then hopefully that means we'll get an interesting cross section of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
All
I'm gonna go find
I'm gonna get
Ilsa.
set up.
Parker, I'm gonna go to floor 8.
Okay.
It looks like you guys had a clean up.
Clean up. I'm gonna get a little stand up with them
Oh,
next
perfect.
to
Oh, nice.
Good, thanks again.
Yeah,
and
thank
great to
you.
meet
It's great to meet you.
I love it,
Yeah.
yeah. The stand up in the
I'll
map
see you
is
Monday, right?
way
Yes,
cool.
I'll be here.
All right.
So we'll see on
Thanks,
floor 8.
guys.
Back to the
I'm gonna be here whenever you're ready to go. I'm glad you got here.
Do you want me to come back here, or do you want me to go?
I'll text you. I'm gonna probably charge my phones because they're both dead.
Okay.
Actually, not both dead, just one. All right. Here, just. What are you gonna do the rest of the time?
I don't know yet. Let's see if I have.
Well, you have an actual badge, right?
Yeah, I've got an interactive badge, so I can get into South by stuff. I went to a very bizarre, hilarious comedy show last night. It was like a guy impersonating some like communist philosopher from Serbia, and he brought on some other impersonators.
Very, like, niche.
Very niche, but like I had heard of him before, and so I was like, I kind of get it, and it was hilarious.
That's awesome. I love this town. Nashville's got a similar kind of vibe. It's definitely not at the. It's a little bit more laid back. Well, I don't know. This is pretty laid back. It's not as counterculture. It's more just like kind of chill.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna ask you like, I don't know. I'll just ask. All softball questions. Like, why are you here? What was your event about?
Okay.
What are you excited about? Why are you excited about seeing space on the theme, the conference themes more?
Mm-hmm.
What can we be bringing, not just in space, but in future forward thinking?
Oh boy.
And don't
answer
like
smart.
no sound like this is only internal for now, but I'm hoping that we'll take it external as well.
So like, see the.
I'm probably gonna have you like, so the profile is here, you're gonna be where that little column is, you're gonna stand here, but it's gonna be you there, the map on the left. I'm gonna see what that looks like. The video team is gonna make it all look nice and nice. And so is this your first time coming to this show?
Yeah.
What all other places have you and the team gone to?
For public-facing stuff, we've done I can't think of it. It's the international one that Angie Buckley does.
Oh yeah,
The Space Studies program.
ISU.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to go to that. Oh, this is me. I don't want to film myself.
No OPSEC concerns with my badge.
It's not your aerospace badge.
No, it's not my aerospace badge. I thought this is just so weird walking around with my name out. I'm like, really? Let's put this away.
All right. Back up. Zoom function. Like that a lot. All right, now look over here at me, and then hold your gaze. Don't follow me back to the camera. Look down a little bit. Look at me. Eyes. Okay. All right, we're recording. You can maintain eye contact with me. You don't look at the camera. All right. Just tell me your name and your position there.
My name is Paul Frakes. I'm a foresight practitioner and systems engineer within the strategic foresight team within CSPS.
Tell me a little bit about the team and what the focus is.
It's a pretty small team, and we are based at Crystal City, and our focus is on the future of space, looking at what the actually I don't even know how to like.
No pressure.
Yeah, I know.
You can just restart whenever you're ready.
Yeah. So, so your question is just like.
What is the team? What's the team like? What is it focused on? Tell me about the team. And maybe we start with what is the team called and what is strategic foresight?
I work on the strategic foresight team, and strategic foresight, something that's kind of new to aerospace. It's actually going to get its own directorate this year. And it's a pretty small team. We work with a number of government customers, as well as our executive team and some internal folks, helping people challenge assumptions about what's going on in the space industry and other industries tangentially, so that we can be more prepared to deal with the changes that are coming down the pike, be more prepared today to deal with the future tomorrow.
What does strategic foresight entail? How does it work?
We've got a toolkit full of 50 plus different tools to try to help us understand what the landscape is in the future. So we did one of those actually today in our exercise.
Do you use the 4 futures model and kind of legislate over your activities? You can talk about that.
Yeah, that's true. So one of the tools that we have is the 4 futures model developed by Jared Dater at the University of Hawaii. It talks about different archetypes of the future, so we can help different customers build scenarios to talk about what are the corner cases of what could happen in the future. We do that in sort of a scenario building kind of way, but we base that on signals that we gather from news, from our deep technical bench in aerospace. We've got a number of people collecting these fringe signals of change and how the horizon scan. It's a really integral part of what we do.
What was the purpose of today's exercise? And you can restate, maybe you start saying, let's say, today's exercise was a futures artifact foundry and describe it.
Yeah, so today's exercise was a space futures artifact foundry. We had a number of folks come in from all across both engineering as well as business, and then some other folks as well in the finance industry, helping people just to explore the possibilities of space. We had them invent worlds at the 2050 epoch, trying to envision what could that look like, and then collaborating with one another, figure out what are some specific tangible artifacts that we might see in that future.
What were some of the ideas that came out, and what did you think?
Well, our grand prize winner was something called Waterball, and it was basically a self-contained water nodule that could be fired from a cannon at a public venue as a basically futuristic water fountain. Instead of having to go to a water fountain, obviously gravity and other things that we are doing on Earth. What if that were to be something that we use as a zero gravity environment, and how might that work?
Is this your first time at South by Southwest?
This is my first time at South by Southwest. Loving it so far. I've gotten to see a lot of different things outside of our normal day-to-day activities, and a lot of good horizon scanning and fringe signals of change to take back to the future.
Are you excited that space is more on the docket for broader non-industry events like this one?
For sure. Because space is being put out there more to the general public, we've got opportunities for collaboration with folks that we wouldn't necessarily get to talk to.
And how are you liking Austin?
It's great. Had some great pizza last night, a lot of good tacos and food. Walking around downtown on 6th Street was a lot of fun last night. Just seeing what there is to see.
Thank you. That was good. 5 minutes, good footage. Hopefully that'll be good. I mean, I think a lot of folks know about the futures team. This was fun, man. Thanks for making it happen. I know I kind of like claimed your time since we knew you had a badge, but
No. This is great, and I appreciate you helping out, because otherwise I would have been like planning to do a lot of logistics and stuff. So
I love doing this kind of thing. So hopefully Sabrina, seeing it work out, will just give me more clearance to travel.
Yeah, that would be great.
I am stuck in my home office all the time, and I know that I love my kids, but I also I'm excited just to be able to like sleep. even if we don't go out to see some music, which is going to be mine. I'm kind of excited for that. So, yeah. Cool. Yeah, let me know what you get into. I'm kind of attached to Sabrina, I guess, for tonight because she is my manager. I'm not sure get some FaceTime for a while.
Yeah, that makes sense. When are you heading back to
I'm
DC?
flying out Monday evening. Tuesday is actually my kid's birthday. So
Oh, fun. Yeah, yeah.
I think I'm meeting a friend locally tomorrow for breakfast, and then it's kind of like whatever I want to get into, like events-wise. I would love to go see Kenny Harris's panel. He's one of our guys on Expo. He was the payload integration special lead for JWST before he joined us.
Oh, cool.
So he's on the James Webb panel. I don't think I can get in the badge like security that they've got. So.
I also saw this panel was competing with the main ballroom panel of like AI and sex. I'm like, oh, okay.
Was that here at this?
No, that was at the main ballroom.
Oh,
That's
well,
all this sci-fi bachelor.
Sorry to have taken you away from
No,
that
no,
one.
no.
Well, it's funny because like Elsa at the end, she was like, I did a similar one of these where somebody asked about, or somebody was focused on like enabling procreation in zero G, and like, that would have been fun to talk about.
Yeah.
And I kind of said, yeah, I think that may have happened in one of those ISS sessions. But I don't know.
There was some illicit weirdness. I think that was like Earth-based stuff.
Oh yeah? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody charted one of those zero G flights just for that. 5 Mile High Club or whatever it is. What's the next big thing for you guys on the team?
We were gonna try to go to Brazil for the ISU thing, but I don't think that's gonna happen because they're redoing the whole curriculum. So I went to Portugal last year with them for basically just a 1-day class, but I had to stay for the full weekend and like do research, talking to people. But they are trying to cut down, like they want to take some of the future stuff out of the curriculum entirely and then get rid of the humanities like department and integrate it with some other piece. I don't know exactly. I'm sure Angie probably can tell you over. I don't know the details.
For resources. I'm not sure the next time I'll be out in there. It's really just kind of just the occasional opportunity. And you're up in Crystal City, right?
Yeah.
We're in DC.
Only about 10 minutes north of there, so I'm like just up the road from Penny.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I lived on Columbia Pike about 2 years. Cool. I was up in DC for 7. I did my master's at AU, and I was up in Friendship Heights for those 2 years. Then Columbia Pike for the next 2 by myself. If you recommend living by yourself. And then when I got married, we moved to Shaw, and I was there for 3 years.
Okay.
And I loved that. I did not want to leave town, but my wife got a dream job in Nashville, so but I'm gonna hang out here, take a load off for a little bit. If you need anything from the listeners, okay, yeah, good to meet you. It's great to execute this.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
And then I'll make sure you, Kara, get to see any video that gets put together. Okay.
Yeah. Core combos put together a report.
Yeah.
Thing.
You get to do an audition.
I'm going to, because they said they were short of Crystal City reps.
Yeah, so actually, it's when you mentioned that, because I was also talking with them. I didn't make any time for the last round, but they're gonna send some more. And I told her, I'll just give you a reel from South by, so that's what that was for.
Well, thank you for answering my call, and
So that,
I will,
that'll be
I'll
kind of a
keep you
nice
posted if
preview
there's
for
anything.
them before you audition too.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick, so I will see you when I see you, all right?
Sounds good.
Thanks again, man.
Say that, this is way busier. What about an 8? Do you guys get the
I just ran into Gary Cohen and another HCFer. They just got up to backstage and are noting a happy hour, which we don't have in backstage today. But they said you would probably know, so I just wanted to let you know that they were here. No, the ones that I've seen do have their badges and they're fine, currently. But I've only seen 2. And, say again. Okay. He's hosting a dinner tonight. Okay, so y'all are already talking about it. I will go down to the badge printing. Button, I will go downstairs. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but my head is like hurting. Some nice meeting rooms, huh? I'll grab these. Yeah, throw that away. There's a coffee right here. I'm gonna grab that.
I'm sorry, are they closed down? So, you know what, yours is on its way up. I didn't know that. So you pull Harley, so probably like, what do you know about the Porsche? It's on 16. I'm like, oh, okay. So yours is on its way up. Okay, great. So why don't you come in and just +1 for